Hey everybody, back with another episode with Sports Nutrition with Sean. So today we're going to talk about where to store your fluids. So this concept of where and what to do things, a lot of it's going to come down to what is your schedule and what is your routine. When we look at a typical athlete's schedule, a lot of things are going to occur throughout your day. You may have to go to class. You might have film sessions. You have practice. It could be a game. You may have other obligations that may have to do with media or having to go to an event, right? There's lots of different obstacles and things that are going to be on your schedule throughout the day, which a lot of times that can make it very challenging to eat and fuel on a consistent basis. But when we're talking specifically about hydration, we don't just hydrate during parts of the day. We have to hydrate all throughout the day to consistently be hydrated as we lead up to activity or rehydrating and replenishing what we lost from the activity afterwards. So when we think about, well, how am I going to get all the different fluids that I need throughout the day? It's going to be, it comes down to, it depends. It really differs on the environment, the type of school, the level of school, whether it's high school, college, the pro setting. Some people have really great environments that foster and give you everything you need. Others, maybe a lot of planning and packing and doing stuff yourself to make sure you have those items with you. So that's where, when we're thinking about that throughout your day, how am I going to get fluids in? So some of these pictures are going to represent that. One process to think about is, where am I going to be the most often, specifically throughout the day, right? So if I'm going to be in class and I'm going to be carrying my backpack around with me all throughout the day, you can see on the side of that backpack, it has a slot. Most of them have 2 slots. If you don't have a slot, you're going to have multiple different zippers you can stick stuff in. Always try to stick at least 2 or 3 bottles of fluid in your bag that you can refill throughout the day. Most schools are going to have refillable water fountains nowadays, or just a water fountain in general. So if the fluid runs out, 1, you always have a backup because you pack 2 or 3 bottles. But 2, if those 2 or 3 bottles get low, always figure out where you are in your environment, in your building, to know where can I refill these specific bottles. Second place you're probably going to be the most often is going to be in the training facility. So does your specific training facility have water fountains you can refill stuff? Do they have vending machines to get fluid? If you use a vending machine, you are going to have to spend your money, and that adds up very quickly. So planning ahead and bringing your own stuff can help. One thing I used to do when I was in college is my apartment, my car, the training facility, or the facility where my locker was, I always had a jug of water everywhere that I went in all those key places, and always made sure I knew where to refill it up. So I always had something to drink all the time. Now, if you're in a training facility that has or is sponsored by Gatorade or Powerade or some specific sports drink company, then most likely, often than not, you're probably going to have some type of cooler or refrigerator that's going to be stocked with drinks. So every time you pass that refrigerator, or every time that you're near that, just grab something. So you're constantly either restocking your bag or bringing more fluids back with you so that you can have in your house, your apartment, or your dorm room, depending on what you're specifically staying. Another good idea too is you can kind of see that top left picture is a car and there's a bottle of water in the car. I've even had athletes put multiple jugs of water in your car, put several cases of fluids in your car. So that way, again, if you're driving around or if you're traveling, for example, then you're never not having the fluid with you. So if the fluid is with you in all the most common places you're going to be at, you're going to have something to drink. If you're thinking about, where am I going to be walking, driving, taking a train, taking an Uber, whatever it is, how am I going to make sure I have fluid in that specific moment or time to make sure I'm hydrating? Again, if you listen to some of those videos we talked about before, we don't want to risk being dehydrated. It's going to be at a high risk for muscle pulls, muscle strains, soft tissue injuries, fatigue, tiredness, lack of focus, headaches. Again, common things that are going to physically and mentally make us not feel great, which can then lead to negative performance in whatever specific activity we're doing based on our sport. Hope you learned something here today. Again, if you're looking for sports nutrition services or want to get in contact with me to ask more questions, go ahead and hit me up below in the bio section. All my contact information is there. Would love to hear from you, and have an awesome day. Hope you learned something.